Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Pizza people, welcome back. Hollywoodpizza here. And we're looking to beat some opponents down on the ladder today with Gruul Beatdown. And let's go ahead, jump straight into the deck list here. So for some 1-drops, we've got Kumano faces Kakazan. 1 red, it's a Saga, first chapter. When it comes in, it deals 1 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control. For the second chapter, whenever you cast your next creature spell this turn, that creature comes in with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And then for the third chapter, you exile it, and then it transforms into this 2/2 with haste that whenever a creature dealt damage, essentially, it gets exiled, which is really phenomenal in this format. You can get rid of some tenacious underdogs and some of the other strategies that are running around. But overall, Kumano faces Kakazan is just a fantastic 1-drop, which just gives you a ton of value. We also have 4 Phoenix Chick here, 1 red for a 1/1 flying haste. It can't block, but it does have flying. It does have haste, so it's going to get in there for a few points of damage, 3 or 4, depending maybe what your opponent wants to do with it. But the additional text on this card is actually quite relevant, as it can be a good recursive threat. So whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you get to pay double red. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking with a +1/+1 counter on it. So later in the game, when you have some other creatures that are coming in for quite a bit of damage, the Phoenix Chick can also get in there for some flying and maybe even deal the last 2 points. We have Flame Discharge, which is actually more of like an X spell here. So X and red, it's an instant. It deals X damage to a creature or a planeswalker. If you control a modified creature as you cast it, it deals X +2 damage instead. So if you actually just already have a modified creature, it's just a shock. And then later on, when you have more mana for it, it actually just kind of scales a lot better as you're able to just deal with some big threats, kind of like a Shield Red, anything like that. And it's instant speed. Shivan Devastator, just really big card right now. I think in Standard just gets around a lot of different things and can end the game pretty quickly. X and a red for flying haste. It comes in with X +1/+1 counters. It's a Dragon Hydra. Yeah, this card definitely gonna end some games for you for sure. It's gonna be a card that in games 2 and 3 your opponent's gonna have to look out for if you were able to get it down in game 1. What I really like about this card is that it scales with the game. So early on, even just a 3-mana 2/2 get in there for some haste here and there. Still pretty decent. Then later on you can cast it as like a 5 or 6 and it just starts to take over the game and end it pretty quickly. For some 2-drops, we have Bloodthirsty Adversary, which is another card that actually scales with the game. So we have a colorless and a red for a 2/2 Vampire Haste. Whenever this card enters the battlefield, you can pay 2 colorless and a red any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Then exile that many instant or sorcery cards, mana value 3 or less from your graveyard, copy them, and you get to cast them for free. So overall, just a really good 2-drop that you can play up front, and then later on in the game, it gets to return back some of your Flame Discharges or Lightning Strike, which actually made a comeback in Standard again. So colorless and a red, Lightning Strike is instant, deals 3 damage to any target. So great burn spell, great removal spell, solid overall. We also have 4 Quirion Beastcaller, colorless and a green for a 2/2 Dryad Warrior. Whenever you cast a creature spell, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it, and then when it dies, you get to distribute those +1/+1 counters that it has onto any number of target creatures that you control. So just a really good card that can kind of just start to get out of control, especially if your opponent doesn't deal with it right away. It could end up being like a 4/4, 5/5, and then if they do end up killing it, then you get to move around some counters on all your cards, especially things like Devastators or like Phoenix Chicks, where you're able to kind of just finish the game off with some flyers. We also have 2 Yavimaya Iconoclast, a colorless and a red, for a 3/2 Elf Trample. Whenever this card enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it gets +1/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. So just a really solid card overall, kind of just helps smooth the curve out. We also have 3 Reckless Stormseeker, 2 colorless and a red for a 2/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. And then if it becomes nighttime, that creature instead will get +2/+0 and gain trample and haste. And then you end up with the 3/4 Storm Charge Slasher. So really great card overall. I can definitely see not wanting to play 4 because it can be a little bit clunky sometimes. But what I really like about this card is that it can actually pump up some of your flyers, which help end the game rather quickly as well. We have Kodama the West Tree, 2 colorless and a green for a 3/3 reach. Modified creatures have trample. And whenever a modified creature control deals combat damage to a player, you get to search your library for a basic land, put on the battlefield tap. So It can ramp you a little bit to have some bigger turns, but a lot of like the value comes in the reach and being able to give all your creatures with counters trample, especially if you end up putting some counters on like Iconoclast. The Beast Caller can get out of control pretty quickly. And of course, Thunder and Ride You, just a really, really great card here. 2 colorless, 2 red for a 3/3 haste spirit. Whenever this card attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control. Then this card deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creature control other than this card. So yeah, it gets out of hand pretty quick. Sometimes you just play it as a 4-mana 4/4, and then other times you already have like a Shivan Devastator, maybe like a Quirion Beastcaller already in play, and you can attack with this, put a counter on itself, and then still deal an additional 2 damage from just those by themselves attacking. So this card gets pretty out of control pretty quickly. We also have 2 spice here. We have Creepy Puppeteer, 3 colorless, and a red for a haste. 4/3, whenever this card attacks, if you attack with exactly one other creature this combat, you can have that creature's base power and toughness become 4/3. So what I really like about this card is you can combine it with Shivan Devastator to kind of just hit super hard. Where let's say you attack with the Puppeteers and just this already has 4 counters, all of a sudden you're coming in for like 8 with just the Devastator. It gets out of control pretty quickly, and on top of that, it makes some of your other cards that wouldn't necessarily be all that good later in the game a lot better, like the Phoenix Chick coming in for 4 in the air. Even a Bloodthirsty Adversary isn't bad to make a 4/3 later as well. For special lands, we have 1 Sokenzen, Crucible of Defiance to make a couple 1/1s. And we also have a Boseiju to deal with any type of problematic artifacts, enchantments, or non-basic lands that our opponent may have. 1 of Jetmir Garden in case we start to flood out, we can kind of just cycle that away. For a sideboard here, we have a couple Play with Fire to help with some of the reach in terms of dealing tons of damage to our opponent, or maybe even using it as an efficient removal spell. If we do end up using it on our opponent, we get to Scry. It's 1 red, deals 2 damage to any target. So we have 3 Outland Liberators here as well to destroy essentially like Fable the Mirror Breakers, any type of problematic artifacts or enchantments like Bank Busters as well. 1 colorless and a green for a 2/2 to Human Werewolf. You can pay a colorless and sacrifice this card to destroy an artifact or enchantment. And then on the night side, it's just a 3/3 that whenever it attacks, you can destroy an artifact or enchantment and still sack it for that 1 colorless. We also have 2 Arlen, the Pax Hope, really good against like control and some of the mid-range decks that are around. 2 colorless, red, green for 4 loyalty, has Daybound, Nightbound on the front side. +1 until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. Each creature control enters the battlefield with an additional counter on it, +1/+1. And then -3, create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. On the night side, you get to add red and a green for +2 loyalty, and then 0, this card becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste, so it kind of turns into like a Gideon type effect that we've seen in the past. But overall, Arlencord really, really good against any type of like mid-range or control strategy where you're able to play your cards at flash speed, or it's actually just a Planeswalker that makes multiple threats and it's just going to be a harder card to deal with. We also have 2 Tamiyo Safekeepings to help against any type of removal spell strategy, like Mono Black, Grixis, anything like that. Not only that, but it also can gain us some life as well, maybe make like a favorable block or a favorable attack. 1 green for an instant, target permanent control gains an hexproof and indestructible, and you gain 2 life. We have Kami's Flare here, colorless and a red instant, and deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. This card also deals 2 damage to that permanent controller if you control a modified creature, so you're able to deal with creatures, planeswalkers, and then maybe even deal some additional damage on top. 2 Unlicensed Hearse for anything that's going to be a graveyard type strategy. 2 colorless for a vehicle, star. Tap, exile the 2 target cards from a single graveyard, and then its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards you've exiled with it, and it accrues for 2. So just a great hate piece, and then a really big beater later in the game. We also have 2 Rending Flames, 2 colorless and a red. Instant deals 5 damage to our creature or planeswalker. That permanent's a spirit. It also deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. Just a really, really solid removal spell overall, especially considering there's things like Shieldred running around. And there's quite a lot of spirits. I mean, even Thunder and Raiju's a spirit, so definitely can pick off some things and deal a lot of damage. But overall, I had a ton of fun playing with this deck. This is actually a deck list that Ash Lizzle took to a 7-0 finish in a standard metagame challenge. And I wanted to see if it's still good here. It's been a few weeks since the metagame changed, so we're going to go ahead and take it a spin on the ladder and see how it does. Playing some Gruul here on the ladder, seeing if we can rank up here. Going to be on the draw to start this match. And mostly just hoping for a pretty speedy start here. And we're going to see what our opponent's up to. Let's see. Okay. And it's actually a pretty decent hand, I think. We can definitely keep it. Being on the draw is a bit unfortunate, but Beast Caller is going to make up for that. And if we can kind of just like curve out Beast Caller into Devastator into Raiju, then we're actually going to be dealing quite a lot of damage, and our creature's going to be pretty beefy. Not sure if our opponent took a mulligan. May just be deciding what land to play first here. And looks like they did take a mulligan. Yep. Gonna keep. And yeah, let's start off with the forest here into the Beast Caller. Okay, pretty interested to see what our opponent's playing here. Gonna pass it back. No removal spell here yet. I think we kind of want the Bloodthirsty instead of the Devastator because the Devastator gets better as the game scales. Even though we wouldn't be putting all of our mana to good use. Okay, so yeah, they're just going to go get a land. Looks like they're mostly a domain type strategy here. Can come in for 5 either way. Oh wow, yeah, Stormseeker's great here. So just a bit more damage is nice. Come in for 6, and then definitely looking for our 4th land here for this Raiju. And the opponent does have 3 basics. Okay. Duelist, pretty interesting threat here. And we could swing in. This has double strike. Could also just play the adversary to pump this up to 4/4. I kind of almost just like playing the Devastator. Yep, just going to come in for 3 in the air here. We have 6 damage between these lightning strikes, so if we can just hit for at least like 4 more points, we're looking pretty solid here. Obviously, the Duelist is pretty huge. It can deal us 10 damage for now. They play another one of these, it's going to be pretty rough. But we have quite a bit of blocking. We may have also wanted to attack with the Beast Caller, mostly because it would have pumped the Devastator up. But I'm actually kind of happy we didn't, in case they chose not to block and then just killed us here. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the block. Soak up some of the damage. Put the counters on the Devastator. And then we still have Lightning Strike. Okay. Well, it looks like we don't have Lightning Strike anymore because they're going to make it cost 4 mana. But the Duelist can't kill us the next turn unless they have another... They'd have to need 2 treaties. Yeah, they have to name Thundering or Lightning Strike. If not, then I guess we just play Raiju and just come in for a ton of damage. That seems pretty good too. We'd make Raiju a 4/4 because we'd want that to trade rather than making the Stormseeker. It would also be a 4/4, but the Raiju would only really trade with the Peacekeeper. I'd rather like, yeah, they're going to name Lightning Strike. Rather make this a 4/4 like a real threat. Okay, we got a 3/3, and we do hit a land. So yeah, I think we Raiju. Let's pump up the Devastator. We attack. Yep. Gonna pump up the Stormseeker here, deal our opponent 2, put them down to 8. They block there. Yeah, they're just maybe gonna double block the Stormseeker. Just trade with the Brawler either way. Okay. Gonna get them down to 3, so yeah, Lightning Strikes are pretty much lethal unless they gain life. They could potentially just kill us here. We're at 14. They have 3 cards left. They're at 3. We're at 14, but double strike, we all know, can end the game rather quickly here. So let's see if they have another treaty they can just read ahead on. But they're going to go ahead and pack them up, so they do not. And it looks like we're pretty much up against domain aggro. Kind of like the play with fires, mostly just like R removal. We're not mostly going to be able to touch the duelist though, just because it has the shield counter on it. Tamiyo's safekeeping isn't bad. We didn't see any removal on their end though. Flame discharge, still pretty good here. Phoenix Chick, not getting blocked. Do we just want the Kami's flares? I think we do. We can cut a Kodama or 2. And maybe Phoenix Chick is actually worse on the draw. And we bring in some burn spells. Maybe the Rending Flame. We already brought in the Kami Flare. Can also see a world where we play Arlen. I think we only have 23 lands, so we don't really want to have too much of a top-heavy deck. Yeah, I kind of like the play with fire. It's just like a cheap removal spell. Can maybe get them with the duelist or something where like we block or tag into them and then they use the first shield counter and then we can just shoot it down with the play with fire. Or any of our other burn spells, which feels pretty good. Gonna be on the draw to start this one off. Gonna be interested to see what our opening hand's looking like. Let's go ahead and start it up here. We know that they potentially play Gaia's Might as well. I actually think this hand's great. We're really just a couple lands away from hitting some dynamite here. Let's Kumanos. We can play Beast Caller on 2. And then we still have Flame Discharge to deal 3 damage, which is nice. Ooh, we might want to just like Lightning Strike this, but I like the Beast Caller here. We should still be able to deal with whatever they play, even if they do play like the Anointed here. They actually don't have anything, but we don't really have anything either. Alright, we're coming in for damage. They have Wandering Emperor, that's fine. Gonna exile the Beast Caller. Yep. So they go back down to 19. We'll play Kumanos. Shoot that down. And we still have Flame Discharge. But it's not really doing much right now. We don't have any creatures that are modified. We really needed a 3rd or 4th land here, because we want to get to these Raijus. May have been smarter to just kill this earlier, but I was really hoping to draw some lands here. Yep, they have the treaty. Gonna ramp up a little bit, make sure that they hit their basics. And they have 4 types, plus the Virtuoso now. Okay, we do not hit a land. Just gonna kill that. Attack our opponent for 2 and pass it back. Gonna have another Kumanos. If we draw land. Still don't really have too much going on, no modified creatures. Still just the Wandering Emperor, so yeah, gonna animate that, sure. 3 cards, plenty of mana. Okay, Duelist. And we have Phoenix Chick. Isn't really doing much here. Can't really attack. Can hit that with a lightning strike, but that's not really going to do it. Yep, let's go and pass them back. So yeah, the shield counter is definitely a problem here. Yep. It's going to be 12 double strike trample here. And I'm definitely expecting like a Gaia's Might maybe. Okay, tapping some mana. A lot of white mana for Elspeth. So yeah, we're pretty much just dead here. Just missing some land drops, obviously, always hurts. And let's see, do we want the Rending Flames? I don't think so. I think we're good here. We have tons of removal. Might have been a good reason to shoot down the elf, just because would have seen the Wandering Emperor later, but either way, I mean, we just didn't get past 2 lands. So weren't really going to be doing much. Going to be on the play this time, which definitely helps us. Mostly because we're just trying to be as aggressive as we can be. And opponent looks like they're still sideboarding here. Okay, gonna jump right back into it. And I'm going to take the play. Ooh, we have to take a mulligan here, unfortunately. This hand's a little bit better. I don't think I want to take the mulligan. We can put back one of the Puppeteers. All of our lands after the Jetmirrors come into play untapped, so hoping for a true drop here on our opening draw of the game. If not, we still have Stormseeker plus the Puppeteer, which can deal quite a bit of hasty damage. Looks like our opponent also took the mulligan, but they are on the draw, so it's a little bit more mitigated for them. I'll definitely take a Phoenix Chick here. It's going to be able to deal a point of damage. They have a Loam Speaker, so I'm guessing that we're going to see potentially a Wandering Emperor on the following turn. We have Iconoclast. Okay, they just have a treaty, so looks like they're definitely just digging for some lands. We're looking to draw our land here to essentially get a lot more pressure going, but either way, we still have another Stormseeker, so that's good. Let's go and pump this one. Pump all these cards up. Hit our opponent down to 8. And if we draw land, Raiju's going to be good. Puppeteer's pretty good. Okay, we can only attack with one other creature, but still 4/3 with haste, so don't really mind it. I think we just want the Raiju here next turn. Just keep pushing some damage. They have 4 mana right now, so they can still cast a Wandering Emperor. Okay. Going for the 2 Brawlers, which I'm pretty happy to see. We hit a Devastator, so yep, gonna play that. Gonna pump up the Devastator with both of these Stormseekers. And we're just gonna attack our opponent for 5 in the air, get him down to 3. And we're at 20. So we have to take quite a bit of damage here in order to die. This is going to be +3/+3, so even if they have another treaty, it's just not going to do it. They have to get rid of the Stormseekers, the Devastator, and the Phoenix Chick pretty much in order to stop us here. I think that we may just have lethal. We can also top deck a land, play the Raiju. Okay, they're going to go up to 5. Yep. Okay, so we do hit the land. Yep. So we play the Raiju. We pump up the Phoenix Chick all the way. attack with the Raiju, the Chick. We deal them 1 plus the 4 from the Phoenix Chick. Would be lethal, so we were able to take down that match. Getting aggressive here on the ladder with some Gruul beatdown. Gonna be on the draw to start the match. But our hand looks pretty aggressive, and on top of that we have some removal spells, so I think we can keep it. And let's go and start off with this Phoenix Chick here. And they might just have a cut down, which is fine. This isn't necessarily one of our powerhouse cards, so I'm not really too worried about it. Gonna hope that we can get to this Devastator later in the game. And let's go ahead and attack for 1. And pass the turn back to our opponent. And it looks like they did have the cut down here. So we'll still pass it back. We have a Lightning Strike for potentially a creature that they might play. Like the Graveyard Trespasser, which, yep, definitely going to kill that. Let's discard one of these mountains. They get rid of our Phoenix Chick, which is unfortunate. Raiju's pretty good. We're hoping to dodge a cut down now. Or maybe even like a Liliana would be pretty annoying, but we do have a Thundering Raiju to follow it up with to kill the Liliana. Okay, they just have Fable, so pretty good shape here. And play the Raiju. Swing in with both, pump up the Devastator, deal our opponent a lot of damage here at once, get them down to 10. And we still have Flame Discharge here, plus Stormseeker as well. So really hoping to just have a modified creature, either keeping the Devastator or the Raiju. And it looks like they just have Bloodtithe the Harvester for now. And they might just kill the Raiju, yep. Getting back the Trespasser. And they're going to attack. Okay, we hit another Devastator. So I think we're just coming in the air here. Yep, gonna get our opponent down to 4. Gotta have a meat hook here, I guess, in order to stop us. If they do, they do. I mean, they'll go up to 6, and then we have Stormseeker to follow it up with. They won't be able to cast their Trespasser for a turn, which would be great. So there's still a chance that we could get there. Yep, Infernal Grasp, gonna go down to 2. And then if they play Trespasser, that just gets them up to 3. So they gotta have another removal spell here for the Devastator. And I feel like they gotta have it, right? Especially considering they dealt themselves some damage. They're gonna dig. And yeah, Devastator's just gonna go ahead and take it down here. So we were able to just get a super fast start and beat them down. So we're up against what looks to essentially be like a Grixis mid-range deck, but looks like they're really leaning into Fable and most of the mono black cards. I think we want the Rending Flames, a couple Kami Flares. I think Kodama is just okay. Puppeteers maybe a little bit worse as well. Or the Iconoclast. But Iconoclast does come in pretty good for damage. We almost want the safekeepings too, so we almost have to think about what we want to do here. Maybe get rid of a Flame Discharge. Kind of like it, especially if we just have a creature with a counter. Let's get rid of both of these Puppeteers. And maybe the Iconoclast. We have 21 creatures, but we have lots of removal. And we're mostly just hoping to win from these Devastators. Could play some Outland Liberators, though, which I think are pretty good. Yeah, let's do something like that. Even though I like Kumanos, it does get worse later in the game. Don't get me wrong, extra points of damage are nice, but Kumano is really good, like first turn or earlier. Or, excuse me, in the first few turns of the game. Let's mulligan here. And yeah, we'll go ahead and keep this hand. We can bring down a Bloodthirsty Adversary. And we're going to start off with this Phoenix Chick. We're going to take a point of damage for it, but let's go ahead and deal our opponent a point. We know that they don't have a cut down yet because there was no stop there. Could have an Infernal Grasp now, but I think it's okay to just play this Bloodthirsty Adversary. And if they want to deal themselves 2 points of damage to kill a card that was already going to deal them damage, then we're pretty fine with that. Let's go ahead and get in there. We play this Jetmir's Garden tap next turn. And just keep pumping the damage in. They have a Fable. They have to deal themselves damage as well if they want to use their red mana. Bit unfortunate there that we didn't hit an untapped mana, or else we would have been able to play the Stormseeker, which would have been great. Yep, gonna take some damage here. Go down to 16. And they have a Graveyard Trespasser. Okay. And we hit a Devastator. I think we just play Devastator and come in for flying. If we hit a Raiju, we can deal a lot of damage. We also have this safekeeping to maybe gain some life in response to something. Ooh, Invoke Despair is pretty good though. We're going to lose a lot of life now. So we're actually going to go down to 6. Actually 5. So yeah, our opponent definitely turned the tide here pretty quick. Missing land drops definitely was not helping our case either though. Okay, Bloodtithe Harvester. We do hit the forest, so we can gain some life. Play the Stormseeker. Go up to 7. It's just not going to do it, I think. Attack, gain, block, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's just not going to do it. I think we got pretty close to being able to kill them if we had hit our lands on time, so I think we're still looking pretty good. We have enough threats plus enough answers, so don't really think I want to make any differences here in the sideboard. We're just going to go ahead and run it back. See if we can get some beatdown going here. Going to be on the play, and yep, we can definitely keep this hand. Start off with the Garden into the Beast Caller. We have a removal spell, maybe a Thunder and Raiju later. Hoping to dodge a cut down here, and we do. Really hoping to just hit any 3-drop in our deck. They may have just drawn the cut down here, seeing as how they pointed at the Beast Caller. And yep, they just have a removal spell. Either way, they have an Abrade. And unfortunately, we just hit a land here, so we have to pass back. So a little bit flooded. And they have a Fable. I think that's fine. We mostly want to use this Flame Discharge on the reflection side. Yep, gonna deal 4 damage here. And let's see what our opponent has. We got 4 mana. Yep. Up to 5 now. So they could have an Invoke Despair here pretty quick. We'll see if they do. Yep. Fortunately, they do. So we're going to go down to 14, lose our Raiju. And we draw another Raiju, which is great. Can also play Kumanos. So let's just keep the damage going here. Gotta do the best that we can with the cards that we got. And Fable's going to come down. We still have the removal spell for that no matter what with this Flame Discharge. Or maybe even just killing a Shieldred if need be. Just like we have to now. Yep, we'll go ahead and take that. Let's hope they don't have an Infernal Grasp here. If they do, we're definitely in some trouble. Okay, just an underdog, that's fine. Ooh, so we actually have to draw it. And kill the Shieldred. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can actually play. Let's see. X equals 3. So it should just deal 5. Yep. And we play Phoenix Chick. We're at 10. They have to block here. Let's pump up the Chick. Yep. Because either way, that could potentially just be the way that we could win the game. We have almost lethal here. They're going to block there. That's fine. Completely fine with that. They'll have the reflection, so maybe they have a graveyard trespasser they're going to potentially copy next turn. Double block. Still feeling pretty good about it. Get our opponent down to 5. We have Kumanos flipping over. Or potentially we're looking for Devastator. Lightning Strike. Kami's Flare actually deals damage as well, which is great. Yep, gonna take the 2 here. And they just have a Shieldred, which is really good. And an underdog, okay. Fortunately, we hit a forest. We're at 6. If we attack with both. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just not going to do it. We got really close. If we just drew anything other than this Carplucent Forest, might have actually just ended up being the game for us. But we lost that match. I felt like it was really close, though. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you. Playing some Gruul here, some beat down. See if we can rank up on the ladder here. Gonna be on the play. And I actually think this is a hand we can keep. We have the Kumanos into the Bloodthirsty Adversary. And then we can even follow that up with the Shivan Devastator and just keep all the hasty damage flowing. And this will eventually turn into a creature as well. Yep, we're going to play Adversary, which gets out of cut down range. So we'll come in for 3 here, which is great. And we still have these Lightning Strikes as well to kill any blockers that our opponent may have. And they actually end up conceding pretty quickly there. I think that we're up against Mono Black, I would think. Let's bring in these Rending Flames. We have 2 Tamiyo Safekeepings, just like we did the last time. Let's get rid of these Kodamas, I think. And let's see, a Puppeteer. And maybe an Iconoclast. Or we can bring in, let's see, we didn't see Fable or anything like that. I think I still like Outland Liberator. Oh, we just didn't see it. So yeah, maybe just the haste is still just better. Do we just want to get rid of one of our removal spells? Puppeteer for a cheaper card. No, I think this is fine. Let's try this out. We were able to take down that game pretty quick, so... And I think this is a hand we can keep. It's a little bit awkward, but seeing as how we're already on the draw, we might be wanting to be a little bit more controlling. And it looks like our opponent answered our question on whether or not they're probably playing Fable. Hit a Beast Caller here, that's fine. Just get that down. And unfortunately they have a Play with Fire here maybe. Voltage Surge. feel like I haven't really seen as many voltage surges lately as I used to. Okay, Blood Tithe Harvester is fine. Yeah, let's pass a turn in case they hit something like a Trespasser. I'd rather kill that with my mana. Let's take the damage. I actually don't have anything else. Yeah, let's kill that. And I think we can play Devastator here as a 3/3. Or maybe we just make a couple 1/1s and beat down like that first. Try to get some removal out of our opponent's hand. Yeah, if all they're doing is just cracking the blood, then pretty happy about that. It gives us some time to kind of set up for a bigger dragon here. Yep, gonna deal a couple points of damage from our land. Feels pretty good. And they have a Florian, which is just going to die to this lightning strike. And then we have an Iconoclast to follow it up with, which feels pretty phenomenal. Gonna come in for 6 points of damage here. And then we still have a Devastator to follow it up with as a 5/5 to potentially give us a 2-turn clock with what we already have on the battlefield. Flame Discharge isn't bad. Let's get this down. And they have Vengeance. Yep. So we're going to kill most of our cards, but we can just hit them with the Devastator here. They hit a Blood Tithe Harvester, so I don't believe that they could kill the Devastator. Okay, Pit Fighter, they go down to 6. Let's see, so unfortunately we can't kill our opponent outright. And just in case. Let's kill this, that way they can't kill our Beast Caller. Still have a reasonable threat on the battlefield. If they can kill the Devastator, then we're going to be in a tough place here. So, yep, just going to say go. Let's play another one. Put a counter on the Beast Caller and take down that match. Alright, end the post-game wrap here. And as you can see, this deck's a ton of fun. And on top of that, you can kind of speed up the ladder pretty quickly, considering that you can kind of just like out-aggro your opponent out of nowhere with cards like the Devastator. And like I said earlier, the Beast Caller kind of grows out of nowhere. Raiju is just such a strong card. And I think that the sideboard is just really strong overall. I think that I could definitely see why Ash Lizzle was able to take this to a 7-0 finish in a metagame challenge, considering that you can definitely just ambush your opponent out of nowhere. And then there's also some grindy to huge late game finishes with like the Devastator and even the Creepy Puppeteer. But if you made it this far into the video, do appreciate it. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, bell notification, like, and leave a comment down below. Would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget, we host 3 tournaments a month. All are free to play with cash prizes, including this Sunday's Standard Slice, so definitely get in on that. And I hope that you stay cheesy.